Today we have Carrie Wallen.
Hello.
For those that haven't met Carrie, her and her husband Patrick oversee our microsite in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, actually Tempe, Arizona, and have just been so faithful during COVID and moving forward. How many alphas have you guys done?
We have run 4 alphas.
4 alphas, you guys, and that's Coastal Church in Arizona.
Yeah.
It's such a treat to have you with me today.
It's such a treat to be with you.
Oh, you know, Carrie at one point was a number of years ago part of our internship. That was before you were newly married. Now you have 3 kids, and it's some time has gone. But your relationship with Jesus has just been so focused, as we heard today. I feel like you are one of those individuals that's like, I want to know how to walk in the Spirit. I want to know how to walk with the Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So taking that point that Pastor Dave made about family, you have your family name, you have your family looks. In the natural, what are some of the things from your family? Because your parents are successful. We've met them, wonderful people. What would you say in the natural on the family side have you received from the family, through the family door in the natural?
Yeah, it's funny because I have very curly hair, but my mom has dyed blonde hair and blue eyes. And so from my father, I get my curly hair. But when I'm with my mother, people think, oh, I've been asked if I'm adopted. As a kid, I was asked so often that I even once said, I'm not adopted. And I looked at my mom and said, what's adopted mean? So I think it's funny because, you know, I get some of my physical features from my family, but there's also like work ethic. I was thinking as Pastor Dave was talking, how that example is actually so great because, you know, your father being in heaven, but you probably still hear your father's voice and you think your father's ways, and he modeled that for you. There are many times as a parent where I hear my mom's voice coming out of me, but she didn't say, now, Carrie, when you're a parent, here's what you're going to do. I just was trained that way because she modeled it. And you probably have things like that too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so to see that spiritually, to have Christ in us, it's such a great illustration that he's in heaven. Yeah. My Father is in heaven, but the DNA is in us. Or that Jesus is in heaven, but he's in us. Yeah. What would be some of the DNA family traits, knowing that Christ is in you? Hearing his voice, like you just mentioned about your mom.
Well, I think it's funny with your natural parents. Sometimes there are times when you want to do what you want to do, and you have to almost try to run away from their voice inside you to disobey them, you know, when you're being rebellious or something. It's so interesting that same way with the Holy Spirit. I think if we really think hard, if we really stop and think about it, we have to really purpose to disobey God. It's not on accident. And we have to, I think it also starts with the things that seem little. One for me that was so big, it was so funny, back in the internship, was this road here, Alberni Street. Like, we're crossing back and forth all day. We're, you know, as interns, we're at the church full time all the time. And it's running over to the sanctuary for prayer, to clean the bathrooms, or back over for a class. And everything in me just wants to run across the road. It's right there. But there was at some point, and I think part of it was also your modeling. I mean, it seems like a silly thing. Some people would think that's not a moral issue. But when you feel that check in your heart and you purposefully ignore it, what you're saying to God is, I'm not really interested in hearing your voice. And if I want to hear God on the big things, it actually starts with me responding to him on the things that seem little. Because to God, he may be the only one that sees the 40 decisions I made not to jaywalk, right? No one else may see that, but he saw that. He saw my heart. And so I think this is maybe a silly example, but a practical one in my own life of, you know, no, I'm not compromising. And ultimately, I'm the one that loses out when I compromise.
Right.
I might think I'm saving 2 minutes, but what am I missing in my relationship with God?
Makes such a good point. It is those small little things. One of the points that Pastor Dave made was, don't judge what the Spirit is doing, because what is happening we don't see what's happening in the spirit. It doesn't show up into the natural. That train is a great example, the vision of the train, or the vision of us standing on the steps of an old church building when that wasn't anywhere in our visual sights at all in the natural. So to not judge what the Spirit is saying, to bring something as practical as jaywalking is so huge, because it is in those little decisions, because the Holy Spirit speaks in those little things. It's taking something, I remember years ago wanting to take a pen from work and hearing just that little, it's a pen. I'll bring it back tomorrow. It's a pen.
Yeah.
But it was just that quick nudging on that little thing that it's not mine.
Yeah.
Don't take it.
Yeah.
And it's those small little things that we can, like you said, we can ignore those things. But if we're walking with the Spirit, we listen to that.
Yeah.
And a accumulation of those small things shows up in large things. And you've seen people, I see your life, and I'm sure people look at you and say, Carrie, how did this happen? How did you guys get to this place? What people didn't see were those small decisions that you made, like not jaywalking, that seem insignificant, but you were doing it as unto the Lord, not for any other reason.
And don't you, and maybe you've experienced this in your life, when you make decisions like that, you didn't take the pen. No one saw you faced with that choice. No one congratulated you. Good job, Cheryl. You didn't take that pen. We're going to promote you. You're an honest person, right? But the knowledge that you walked away and obeyed God in that decision, also, I feel like it increases my ability to just live before God and no one else. Like, he saw that. And now I'm going to walk away with the satisfaction that he saw that. And he's so pleased with my choice to honor him in that. And then we grow. I think it actually strengthens us to be able to stand in many instances, because we are growing in this knowledge that we're actually living before him. And that's all that matters, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, absolutely. And going that verse that Pastor Dave shared in Zechariah, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. And that as you continue in that verse, it says that there's no large mountain that can't be removed, and he's going to make the ground, the plains flat. Yeah. And how do you speak to the mountain when you've been those small steps with Jesus over and over again? I want to be led by the Spirit more than anything else. And to your point, I think it takes a lot more work to step away than it is to just say yes to Jesus. Yeah. And in those moments saying, yes, Holy Spirit, yes, Holy Spirit, yes, Holy Spirit, so that when that comes to the point where we need the authority of the name, the family name, that is with great confidence. It's like you're not at that moment thinking, oh, I disobeyed here, I disobeyed, oh, I should have done that, I should have done that. What that does is it diminishes the authority. Yes. And you're not sure you can actually walk in it. Yeah. But when you've made small decisions and then you need to use that authority, it comes with a greater confidence than prior to that. Yeah,
that's so good. I actually am reminded of this time I was just having a pity party, and I pulled up to the grocery store, and there was a very unsavory individual. And I had this moment of well, I'm just going to pray. But I realized in my state, actually, I'm not quite that powerful, because I'm just feeling so sorry for myself. So I think you're spot on. I had to, again, I think it's good to just remember it's not anything that we're doing we don't earn this by being good. I didn't earn anything by not jaywalking. It's just when I'm misstep, ask for forgiveness, and I live my life as though he's with me all the time, because he's with me all the time.
Carrie, it's been a delight to have you together on Overtime.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your wisdom, and thanks for staying with us online. God bless you, and enjoy the rest of your day.